Someone's already liked the video. They haven't even got out of the gate.
Probably the casual look. So, thank you. And welcome, wonderful, fantastic staff members of Mount Mansfield. And I want to thank you very much for attending the meeting today. I also want to thank folks for the very thoughtful and informative questions that they've been sharing with myself and principals and our reopening committee. That's been really helpful for us to understand what people are thinking, and that helps us plan effectively. First, I just want to say, man, am I grateful to live in Vermont right now. We are so fortunate. The cases of COVID-19 are still very low. The infection rate is low. The spread rate is low. Certainly, there's been a few spikes here and there in communities, but overall, and in our communities specifically, the infection rate is incredibly low compared to the rest of the country as people look to reopen schools. So thankful to live in Vermont. God bless Vermont. Love the Green Mountain State. And I'm hoping for even better days as we enter the fall. I also want to let people know that we have been trying to prepare literally day and night for the reopening of schools. That includes ordering really massive amounts of PPE and protective equipment for staff so that when they come back to school, they feel like they have the resources that they need to be safe. We literally have pallets of PPE that we're going to be distributing to schools. And I'm really very confident that we're going to have the supplies that we need to keep people safe as we reopen school. We have our own Strong and Healthy Start document that we've shared in our district happenings. And that we have shared with all of you. We're going to need to revise that. Just yesterday afternoon, we got new guidance from the Agency of Education and the Vermont Health Department that has a number of revisions to some of the guidelines and guidance that we had received in June. So our reopening committee met this morning, and we considered possible changes to our document and our planning based on the new guidance. We're currently unpacking that. It's a somewhat, I think, there's some confusing or complex parts of it, and maybe some parts that contradict one another. And so we need to sort of process that, get some of our questions answered from the AOE and the health department, and specifically probably Secretary French around some of the distance guidance and what exactly that means for us. But right now, our plan is to continue with a hybrid model as we re-enter the school year. I am meeting with regional superintendents on Friday, and we're going to take a look at the new guidance as a region and talk about what that means for us. So, there could be some changes that are coming soon, but right now, we have a plan and we're continuing with our plan. There was also some guidance that came out about high school and middle school sports, and we're also processing that and taking a look at it. And the high school and middle schools are considering what we can based on equity and safety and staffing and facilities, what we'll be able to offer students in the fall. So with that, I want to open this up to as many questions as I can, and I hope everybody is well and enjoying the sun outside and able to enjoy some time with family and friends. Ready for questions?
All right, questions are ready for you. We got some queued up.
Queue them up.
Not in the chat, but these are emailed. will you reimburse us for the $100 St. Mike's fees? These are two that, so John, the course in the Roots and Wings, we shared some courses that St. Mike's is offering for PD around equity as well as online learning. So this person was asking if they're going to be reimbursed for the $100 course fees.
I would say yes. We will, if it is connected, we'll use our tuition money to be able to do that. Still need to get it approved by an administrator, so that'll be important. We're encouraging people to take those online trainings and equity trainings as much as possible. Just to let you know, our and I probably shared this last week, but our principals participated in our some of our admin team and some equity training last week that I thought was excellent, and how to restart schools in a safe and equitable manner. We were able to hear from some national experts and what some other school districts are doing to promote and sustain equity for all students and staff members.
All right. Did anyone move ahead on my idea of team buffs for the school to distribute? If so, I would like to have our MMU Global Service Club leadership design one of these for our club and friends of the club. How would I do that?
So I'm going to defer to Tara, because before she indicated she wanted to speak, I knew that she would want to. So Tara.
So you may have seen in the news the last couple of days that buffs and gaiters are actually not recommended any longer, that there was some research that was done, reputable research that indicates that that those gaiters are actually far less effective than cloth facial coverings, and may actually be worse than not wearing facial coverings at all. So at the moment, I don't think we're going to proceed with that, but we do need to get kind of further clarifications on gaiters and buffs.
Thank you, Tara. And I had read that as well. And thank you. Ben?
Part of that. Also, I looked for the calendar that John A. had. When will this be posted? I'm not sure about the program assistance start dates, and should we be saving all this training and whatnot for that period of time?
So we're going to get some information out to all staff about the support staff about starting and what the schedules are going to be very, very, very soon. I have not published the calendar. That's something, the school year calendar, but that's something I want to be able to do this week. Problem is that calendar needs to be amended and approved countywide by regional superintendents, and that has not happened. That's supposed to happen on Friday.
Okay. I would also like to strongly advocate that Leo's NHS Key Club have the opportunity maybe to help with citizenship PBGR, provide tech assistance, maybe even tutoring for classes. The teachers have enough to think about with live kids in front of them, and TA can manage in Google Hangout, monitor questions, and like that. So I think it's just a comment for you, John.
Yep, really appreciate that. We're going to, believe you me, we want all the support we can get. This is going to take all hands on deck to be able to reopen effectively and safely. So thank you for that offer and the creative thinking. I think it's great.
Several parents have contacted me concerned about their ability to provide educational supports across various subjects for their students. Will there be either focused learning groups, say algebra or English, or dedicated staff to answer questions? Maybe another area of buy-in from the upperclassmen. Also, I can see that these focus groups in the community, say at a local business or barn, or library in small groups as a way of meeting, yet not crowding? I think another comment, John, I don't know if you want to respond to it.
I'm not sure exactly. We don't have the staffing to be spreading out teachers all over the community to make smaller pods. So that would be a real challenge. I would also be concerned about safety in general. If those pods want to be family directed, certainly I would. That's something that we would. We have no problem with. As far as supporting students, I'm assuming this is in a hybrid environment. That's something we're going to need to troubleshoot and problem solve within our school teams.
A new study by Duke University showed that net gaiters do not limit the spread of COVID and may increase it. Will our guidelines change?
Yes, we are considering that. Yep. Yes.
Can you update us about adequate computers for our classrooms and what the district plan is with regards to this elementary level?
Jeff, we've ordered a lot of computers. Do you want any comments on that? Thank you.
Are health screenings being revised based on new guidance that came out yesterday?
We are considering that, yes. Yep, our health and safety subgroup on our reopening committee is taking a look at the new guidance and considering revisions to our processes.
Are parents going to be tasked with temp checks before their child gets on the bus?
We're currently, and Tara, no, they're not. We're going to do the temperature checks. We've decided that's something we're going to do, and that's in the guidance. The temperature checks should be taken at the school or the first point of contact. So we are gonna follow that.
If state does say go to step 3 after 2 weeks of school, will we go to step 3 that quickly?
That's a great question, and I would say that right now I'm not sure. I want to be totally honest. So, I think I'm thinking that it would be a longer than a 2-week period. So I don't think we could just start right after the 2 weeks if we move into 3. So to me, it would be a slow measured. This is what our current plan is that we're going to have a slow and measured reopening of schools and take a look at what the health data and what the guidance is from the AOE. So I don't think we could move just from okay, the AOE said that we're in step 3 and the next day that we're have everybody back. I think we would want a very thoughtful phase into that.
Does the district have any solution for childcare for teachers?
We are working on it. We will have. I believe we're going to have a solution. Confident we'll have a solution. Problem is that I'm running up against, and I haven't even shared this with the admin team. Is I'm running up against some obstacles with licensing and I haven't gotten an affirmative answer on can we run the child care through our own schools. People have been pretty wishy-washy around that. So I feel like we can meet the need. I'm feeling more and more confident, but we're going to need some flexibility from the state of Vermont. So if you have any influence with the child development division, I would be emailing them and advocating that position.
Knowing that in-service begins a week from this Friday, when will we see a schedule?
Of what's going to happen for in-service?
I think it's
I'm thinking that next week.
Is there any talk about obtaining proper furniture to make distancing, etc., possible in classrooms that only have tables?
Yes, but it's not as easy as you would think. So we're looking for all the available seating that we can find, but it's not like we can go out and order 500 desks. So we're going to do the best we can with the equipment that we have.
Okay. John, that's the end of the questions.
Okay, that's not bad. And we appreciate the questions. I'll just go over a couple of highlights, some of the ones that we heard today to make sure that I was very clear. Number one, I think one of the key questions that came up was around if we go to step 3, what does that mean for us? And right now, what I'm saying is we can't just change on a dime to say that we're going to have everybody back in school, right after that announcement. We're going to want to have our own plan so that we have our routines and our operations in place, that our students and staff are feeling safe and our families. So I think that's an important piece to emphasize. The child care, we can solve that, but I'm going to need some help from the state of Vermont. It's easy to say, okay, let's have everybody back in school to some sort of in-person or everybody back, but we're not going to give you any flexibility to meet the needs of staff and childcare. I think that's unreasonable. Right now, they haven't given me any clear clarity on, can we run our own childcare programs in our schools? So I'm waiting on that. As soon as I can get some clarity around that, we're continuing to plan. And our admin team has been great about saying, okay, we know we need to make this happen and we're going to. I'm hopeful that some state regulation doesn't get in the way. Everybody that's going to be providing any sort of care is going to be fingerprinted and vetted. But the rules around childcare are different than they are for schools. So, we're going to need to get some support and some flexibility from the state of Vermont. Then I would just leave with this, because
before you get to the closing statement, there was one question that I think there was an issue with the tech and it didn't get entered in.
Okay.
So we posted it, so I'm going to read it to you.
Sure.
Just so you can make sure they were all answered.
Yep.
Looks like it's 2 parts. So at last night during the K-5 virtual academy talk, it was said that students in the academy are welcome to join up at our physical schools for specials. Part 2 of this, John. I think this could be problematic. No relationships built / input building group expectations, health guidelines for public.
So that isn't what was said at last night's meeting. At least that's not what I heard. I heard that we're going to try to make as many connections as we can with schools, and we need to do that. These are our students, and we want to promote their social, emotional well-being as much as we possibly can. So we didn't say students can, if there's art is going to be available and unified arts for virtually. But we did say that if somebody wants to play an instrument or participate in something that could be done virtually and it's possible, or participate in a fun activity that all students are doing, that we're going to do our best to make that happen. And we are committed to that. And I know our administrative team and, the reopening committee and everybody on that I've spoken with has said, look, we've got to be as flexible as we can during this time. And we want to make this work for families and students.
John, so as you were talking, the question engine started churning again. Do you want to continue answering those questions, and then once we're done, we can stop, or do you want to have those?
I'll answer any questions that come up. Or try to anyway.
Okay, this one is not really a question, I don't think. Moving on, are some or could some of the in-service days be remote?
I'm going to say that it would really depend on what the need is in the school. And I'm going to rely on principals to say whether it's possible or not to do things remotely. I think in the beginning, a lot of the work that we're going to need to do is we're going to need people in the building. But there may be things that are virtual that people can do, and we'll be as flexible as we can be.
What is the percentage of students attending Virtual Academy?
I don't know about the percentage. between 8 and 10%. Right in that range.
What kind of guidelines will we have for when it is appropriate to be using outside classrooms, weather, etc.?
I'm going to leave that up to schools to determine when it's possible to be outside as far as the weather goes. We've been pretty effective with that. We have a lot of outside learning that has taken place, over the last 4 or 5 years, and school teams and principals have decided when it's okay to be outside and when it isn't. It'll be based on if it's pouring rain, how cold it is, what is the wind like. So, I'm going to, and a lot of that we want to leave up to teachers to be able to make those decisions. I think they're more qualified than I am. Or they're qualified to make those decisions. And more qualified than me, probably.
Mary sent out an email in which she stated that paraeducators will have in-service on August 21st, and then the week of August 31st, September 4th, through September 4th. So not the week of August 24th through the 28th? Question mark.
Barry, do you want to...
Right. That was the agreement that we had with the principals when we looked at just number of days. And so that's what we came up with, that we would choose the week that was closer to when we would be welcoming students back.
Yeah, I mean, our goal, is to keep people as whole as we possibly can and keep their schedules as close as we could possibly can based on the work that we have.
Will multi-age teachers have to teach both grades of math each day? We team currently, and I do one grade, and a colleague does the alternate grade. I see teaching both grades of math each day as something I would need considerable time to wrap my head around with this short notice.
Yeah, that's something I would ask the person to address with their principal and focus on at the school level.
When will the staff of the virtual academy be made public?
Sometime next week. we need people are still signing up. The deadline is August 17th, so we want to get accurate numbers. There are some unknowns, and I shared this with our reopening committee this week, that I can't get the homeschool numbers until the end of this month. So that doesn't really influence the, well, it could. I mean, it has some influence on staffing and enrollment. So, but we're planning on doing that next week. Having said that, it could change, based on actually who shows up at school.
All right, we're officially at the end, John. No more questions.
Great questions, everyone, and I really appreciate the folks that tuned in today. I want to reiterate and emphasize that safety is our number one priority. So the health and safety of students and staff is number one. We've been planning rigorously, a lot of effort from so many people who I am grateful for over the last 2 months to try to open up in a safe manner. And I have the authority and will exercise it, to close schools, close sections of schools, close multiple schools, if I feel like people are at risk. So I want people to know that we're going to be following what's going on in our schools and in our communities very, very, very closely. And I will not hesitate to, move to a different educational delivery model if I feel people are unsafe. Obviously, we're going to use the best health and safety information that we have and consult with the Vermont Department of Health. But, we will do what we need to do to keep people safe. And the work that we've done over the summer has really focused on giving teachers the resources that they need and staff members so that they can feel good about coming back to school. I know people are anxious that there's, and because there are a lot of unknowns. And I just hope that some of the information that's come out from the Vermont Association of Pediatrics and some of the studies is putting some ease and some less stress on people, and the fact that Vermont is doing very well comparatively to every other state in Vermont. And how have we done it? By being thoughtful, by focusing on safety, by the measures that we take are well informed, and that we're not just reacting to things. That's the worst thing that we can do, is just react to either new information or some situation that is beyond our control. We want to take a look at what's going on and make good decisions, but not react to some news story or some study that's coming out of the Midwest. So we're going to do what's right, and we're going to do our best to keep people safe. And I hope you know that, and I assure you of that. So I'm going to end on that note, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I cannot wait to be in schools where there's people, because I am really sick of my office and walking into schools and them being completely empty. So I can't wait to see people. I can't wait for students to get back to school, and I can't wait for a vaccine. So I hope everybody has a great day, and I look forward to seeing all you very, very soon.